Hello Slayers! I'm very proud to show you guys that I have beaten the final boss of this game, which you have to get 3 different keys to unlock this extra stage, where at the very end you will encounter the boss corrupt heart. It has like 750 HP, which is a lot. I'm doing this run on Ascension 7, which you can probably just do without Ascension, and it probably would have been a better idea so you don't get nerfed down, but since I made it anyways, I'm just not gonna replay it on a different version. Honestly, I just got very lucky in this run because I got some really good cards and some really good relics that works well together. Press joints will let us apply vulnerable to the boss, which allows us to deal even more damages. Panic button is extremely overpowered if you use save summoning, because you know what the boss intentions are in the following turn. You will just use that card whenever the boss is not going to attack the turn after. So this boss will deal you some status: dazed, slimed, wound, burn, and void. It seems like a lot at first, but I'm already very well prepared. As you guys can see, I have lots of energy. And also, of course, we also need cards dealing statuses to the boss, such as the Slash Whip, which applies 2 weak if the last card you played is an attack card. Flash of Steel also draws 1 card at no cost. Finishing off my turn with Blind Sleeves, dealing consecutive damages. In this turn, the boss is purely attacking, not giving me any more statuses, thank goodness. We see in the next turn the boss intends to attack for 50 damage, but I don't think we can actually block that much off, unfortunately. Good thing I still have some HP stock from previous fights. Also, because remember, Form Influence is such an overpowered card if you upgrade it, because you can just get a free attack card basically at no cost of energy. Oh, by the way, when I drew the Deus Ex Machina, somehow it's not turning into miracles even though it's supposed to. I don't know if that's like a bug or something, because I've seen it do that a few times in my other runs. Now the boss turn comes again, and it's also not doing any other statuses. That's even better for me. The easier it is, the less work for me. On my 4th turn, I was lucky enough to draw the Violence card, which puts 4 random attacks from my draw pile onto my hand. This is a very good card if you happen to have no attack cards in your hand and the boss is not going to attack the next turn, because otherwise you would just waste your turn basically. Since this is the very last boss of this run, I'm just going to play Lesson Learned as soon as I drew that card, since there's no point to save it anymore. And also, I played the status card Slime, though it didn't show up later. I'm going to save my Sense of Time until later, and of course I have my Vault card, which will let me take an extra turn after the current turn, so we can actually skip a turn of the boss. In the final boss, this is huge, and because in this boss only allows you to deal up to 300 damage per turn, I was hoping with the Vault card we can actually deal more than that since we skipped the boss turn. But nope, the counter never got reset, but that's okay. I won't usually deal more than 300 damage per turn anyways, so there's still plenty of room to damage it. And I was lucky enough to just draw another Vault card, so here is my turn again. Since it looks like the boss is going to apply some buff the following turn, I'm just not going to defend and attack as much as I can this turn. This card that looks very waste but is actually overpowered is Breath of Flame, because when you don't have cards that deal damage multiple times, this is basically just like, you know, single attack card dealing 8 damage, which is pretty waste. But if you use it with a card that deals damage multiple times, such as Flying Sleeves, it will increase the damage per time. If you're in a different stance that increases your damage, such as Wars or even Divinity, then you can deal a very large amount of damage. Unfortunately, I'm stuck in my comp state right now, so I couldn't showcase that, but you get the idea. Now for defense, is also an overpowered card called Spirit Shield. This card gains 3 block for each card in your hand. I don't find it working well with the early levels though, but at this point, I do have a lot of cards in my hand, and because I've been saving up my miracles from previous turns, I just have way too much cards at this point. I also got very lucky with relics. There was this one relic that instead of removing all of your defense at the end of the turn, it only removes 15. When there's a turn that the boss is not attacking, I was able to do lots of preparation for the following turn by stocking up so much extra defense, just in case the following turns I don't have enough defense. And as you guys can see, even when the boss is attacking, I can still preserve some leftover block after the attack. So we don't actually need it for this turn, because as you can see, the boss is not going to attack the following turn. Again, this is my opportunity to attack as much as I can. I was lucky enough to draw the Eruption card, so I can enter the Wars 8, which deals double damage to the boss. And the downside is the boss will do double damage to me, but since it's not attacking, that downside is basically not present. All I did this time is adding a piece of S. I actually don't remember what that thing does. I think it's like to deal a damage to you at the end of the turn or something, but it's not a big deal if you have enough block. I actually have enough energy to use all of my attacks and defenses in my hand, so I'm just going to use up everything, might as well. I don't need to use Tranquility because I'm already in calm. Alright, with over 100 blocks, the boss at this point is not going to be difficult for me anymore. I'm just going to redo the rest of the fight. The boss boss intent for next turn is to attack again, so I'm just going to work on building my defense for now since I happen to have a lot of defense cards in my hand. I'm thinking of saving my attack for the next turn to finish off the boss, but for now I have enough luck to block this attack, so I'm just going to play it safe. This is also a good time to use up the miracles I've been stocking from previous turns. Now, it's also better late than never that I got the power card Devotion to get 2 mantras per turn. I feel like if we got this card earlier around the beginning of this fight, then we would have won at this point already. But that is the annoying part with RNG. So since I do have so much extra defense cards, I'm just going to use them up even if the boss is not attacking next turn because we have that reload carry first, so we can actually prepare to stock a block for the next turn. And I don't really have too much attack cards anyway, so I'm just going to do that. But of course, and for the attack cards that I happen to have, I'm just going to play them as they show up. Inner Peace will let you draw 3 cards when you're in the comsay. Cuts Through the Fates will also let you draw a card after scrying 3 cards. So cards like these that draws more cards are very helpful to maintain your combo in your turn. It looks like for this turn the boss is going to cast a debuff. To be honest, it doesn't look like I'm getting affected by it. And I really don't remember what it does, but it looks like it's not important. So that's a good thing. I also added 2 strength to itself, but that's not important because after all the build up, we have more than enough blocks anyways. At the end of my turn, I have 172 blocks. So even after the boss attacks, I still have over 100 blocks left. And after deducting 15 with my relic, I still have over 100 blocks left. What is this magic? And also, I finally reached the Divinity Sense at this turn, which is enough to help me finish up the boss. Now, I was actually going to end the video here, but the cutscene for the Watcher upon beating the final boss is actually different than the usual, and I thought it actually pretty cool. So I'm just going to show it here. So it looks like that the Watcher is breaking free from that purple thingy, which I assume is like an aura from the boss or something. And then once they break free, they started like a new power of their own. Is that the correct understanding? I'm not sure. And we got a new achievement for beating the true boss. Congratulations! There's also like an additional cutscene at the end of it that seems to be hinting a sequel.